Come and suck on my toes.
Come and suck on his toes.
I'll be naked for you.
I'll be naked for you.
Where the peepees are his and his and his.
Oh, yeah, you.
It's time for Sitcom My Face.
I wonder what's on the tube.
Welcome back.
Thank you for being a friend.
What you talking about, Willis?
You are a meathead.
No soup for you.
I'm Jay frickin' Bidwell, and that's Nick frickin' Franco. What's up, buddy? Been a minute.
Yeah, it's been a minute, and let's see. Since we last talked, unfortunately, I get if you want to get to the the sad part.
Instantly, Debbie Downer over here. Got to talk about one of our favorites, man, from the first show we covered on this.
That's
podcast.
what I was going to say. All the way back to show number 1.
Yeah, every once in a while a celebrity dies. We had it with Gilbert. We talked about it with Paul.
Norm.
I almost suggested we do maybe a remembrance episode for Matthew, maybe down the road.
Yes.
But old Matthew Perry passed from Friends. Chandler Bing, man. What the hell?
I know. Very sad.
He's had several other sitcoms, though, so I think maybe perhaps we'll just cover one of those in his memoriam. But, yeah, drowned in a hot tub. What the fuck?
Jeez.
Have we heard anything else? I haven't heard any follow-up on it. I don't know if that's just what they're saying.
It doesn't sound like anything fishy or like any substance or anything like that. So
we did talk about, I think, he had substance abuse issues in the past, but he had been clean for a while. He just had a book come out, which I do want to read, about his struggle and about his career. Less than a year ago, I think he was, and I just told you, damn it, to go to that book tour when he was in Jersey, remember, or New York, and I was like, man,
God.
I think I mentioned it to you. I was like, hey, he's gonna be in your backyard. I think you were doing something that day.
Mm-hmm.
God, I wish one of us had got to go.
Yeah,
he didn't come anywhere near me though, because I looked. But damn, man,
and of course the scary thing for me is like he wasn't much older than me. He was what?
Yeah. Well, and I guess
was,
he had
54. I think he was.
I think he did have what they say heart issues from his previous addiction issues. So,
right. And again, the addictions. We're not just talking about like drugs. He was also at times alcohol, and like in his book, and like when he's talked about, he was saying that you could tell when I was on what. It's like when he gained weight, he was drinking. When he was skinny, he was on drugs.
And apparently did a lot of good work for people with addiction issues, which is great. And I did see a quote where he said, like, when I die, I don't want friends to be the first thing that's talked about. He wanted, his real life contributions to be brought up. So, yeah, sad. One of the funniest fuckers on any show we've watched.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
And like, did you ever see any of his movies, like such as Whole 9 Yards?
I absolutely love the Whole 9 Yards.
Yes, that movie
and the Whole 10 Yards.
Yeah, but
how weird. Bruce Willis is debilitated now. He can't speak. I don't think anymore. Right.
I don't know if it's to that point, or I think he might have limited. I think.
I thought I saw like one of his daughters tweeted something about his lack of speech ability, but apparently that's how you said they got him on Friends. How they got Bruce Willis on Friends was because of the Whole 9 Yards.
Mm-hmm.
He made a bet on the success of the show, of the movie, and ended up having to do a guest appearance, which he was on there for quite a few. If I recall, he was dating Rachel for like a season almost. So, yeah, R.I.P. Matthew Perry. We'll do something for you. Sadly, this episode we're also doing kind of a memoriam for another celebrity that just passed.
Correct, Suzanne Summers.
Suzanne Summers. Yep, the beautiful, bubbly, bouncy blonde of my childhood dreams.
Oh yeah, and many.
And later on, I even thought, I had a little thing for her when she was on Step by Step too. So
yeah, I'm trying to remember. Let's see, she had that. She's the Sheriff.
Mm-hmm.
What were some I'm trying to remember. I think she had like one or two more, right? I think as far as sitcoms.
Those are the three that I remember.
Yeah.
She wasn't really in movies either, right? I don't remember her in
Ants.
Oh, the monster one you were talking about?
Yeah.
Not Ants with a Z, the animated DreamWorks one? No. That was Woody Allen and somebody.
Yeah. What was it? J-Lo, I think, right?
I think Stallone was in that too.
Yes.
She was on this for what? The first 4 seasons of 8. She made it half the run.
Complete, yes. As far as, like first 4 seasons she was on. But then, starting with season 5, we'll get to it, like in our synopsis here.
So this week's episode, Three's Company, ran on CBS from what was it, 76?
No.
What?
Ran on ABC.
This was an ABC show, but it was shot at CBS. This was an ABC
show,
but it was shot at CBS. That's why I said that.
I know, it's weird.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Actually, it was from some of what I was reading. It was presented to ABC. They were like, eh. Then Larry Gelbart of MASH fame did some work on it.
MASH? Never heard of it.
MASH? No.
Oh, wait. That's what I paid that lady to do to my nuts last weekend. That's right.
Now. No. That's the potatoes you'll eat next week.
I don't have family who love me. Anyway,
well, that's ABC, what instant potatoes are for.
Right. No, that's what the nut mashing is for.
But anyway, like in trying to develop a pilot episode, Gelbart was helping to develop because like the initial version, they were like, Gelbart came along, he did some work. They were like, okay, better, but well, let's see. Then they went back. Well, first of all, let's bring up the one thing. This is not an original idea.
This is a show based on a show based on a movie. How fucking weird is that?
Yeah, the show was a British show called Man About the House.
And in 1974, Man About the House was a film which the show Man About the House was based on.
Right.
And then, as we do, we go, let's see what we can steal from overseas.
Exactly. Hey, I wonder if they'll ever steal Father Ted.
We talked about it. They tried, didn't they?
Yeah, I think there was talk about development of a U.S. version, but yeah, that never came to fruition.
So on ABC, this ran from 76 to 84, which is a pretty good run. 8 seasons. Although the first one is very short.
Yeah, first season is only 6 episodes.
Have you seen the original show it's based on?
Yes. Actually, when I was younger and Three's Company was in syndication, on the one New York channel that always showed the syndicated shows like around say 5 o'clock they started, what they did was they showed Men About the House and then after it Three's Company.
How does it compare then? Is it good? It must be good, right?
Oh yeah, no, it was definitely good. But again, I had been exposed to Three's Company first, so it was like
I didn't look up if the actors on the British show are from the original movie either. Do you know that?
That part I don't know.
Also, the spin-off of this, which we'll probably talk about, was also based on their spin-off. So they ripped off the rip-off. They ripped off the spin-off.
The spin-off of this was Three's a Crowd, or they called it at one point Three's Company.
Three's Company 2.
Yeah,
that'd be pretty good. It's in the song, right?
And then the British one was Robin's Nest. Mm-hmm. That was the British spin-off.
As you stated, you're a little jealous that I do have all beautiful 8 seasons of this show on DVD. Yes.
I'm very
now. Tell me why you wish you had these DVDs, Nick.
Well, because I was number one, fan of Three's Company growing up. It would be nice to have the physical media, because if you don't have the physical media, you have to rely on streaming.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's on all the great streaming services like Hulu or Netflix or Amazon Prime.
Not at the current time. It's on, actually, Pluto, which I've watched things on before.
You had to go all the way to the planet of Pluto?
Yes. Yep. Hey,
the reinstated planet of Pluto?
Is it a planet again?
I think it is. I think it was reinstated, if I recall.
You got its license back?
I'm not in 9th grade anymore. I don't remember.
But anyway, Pluto, I hadn't had problems with Pluto before.
Yeah, we've watched a few shows on there.
Yeah.
No issues, really.
But Three's Company has some issues. And boy, does it have some issues. There are episodes where all of a sudden the audio has now jumped ahead. So now you're watching something that, the video that has to catch up with the audio, which it won't until after the next commercial break.
Well, so I had watched the first, I think, 3 episodes on Pluto, no issues. Yeah. A couple of days went by and I was driving home from work and I was like stuck in traffic and I was like, I'm just going to I had the app on my phone. I was like, I'll put a few on my phone while I'm driving home because I have like an hour commute normally. So it's going to be more like 2 probably that day.
And plus also it's good not to pay attention to the road.
Well, no, I just had it on, like sitting next to me as I was like,
coming crashing my car.
Here's the thing about this show is I've seen it so many times as my youth that I just kind of got to listen to it and I remember I can visualize it anyway.
Correct.
So I had it on next to me on the seat and it was playing and I remembered some line. So I looked over and it was a completely different scene and the mouths weren't matching and I was like, it's got to be like my Wi-Fi or something.
Nope.
And then you messaged me, I think that same day. We're like, what the fuck is wrong with this show?
It's like, are you having problems with this on Pluto?
And I was like, oh, you know what? And then I popped one on my TV when I got home. And yes, it was all fucked up. Not only was it jumping in the middle of a scene, it would jump to a different scene.
Yes.
It would play audio from another scene. You're going, what the fuck is happening?
And sometimes the video was just frozen and you're just listening to audio.
I think that episode in real time ended up being like 7 minutes and then it cut to the end and started playing the final song. I was like, oh, okay.
Oh, there was another episode that I was watching that after it did its freeze, went through its commercials, it started over again. It's like,
So you did some research and you found out that is a very common issue and it's only with that show on Pluto or what?
Apparently, I guess I haven't looked into other shows. You know, we've watched other things on Pluto, but as far as the Three's Company ones, apparently there's some problems. They're thinking it's with the compression rate, which is causing lots of problems with lots of people.
I've also watched a lot of movies on Pluto with friends online. We'll have like viewing parties. I've never had an issue.
Correct. Yeah, and I've watched plenty of things. Like I watch a lot of Mystery Science Theater on there and Riff Tracks. I'm
so bizarre.
But yeah. So my watching
so go ahead and find the DVD.
As good as it could be. And
go ahead and find the
DVDs. Again, physical media rules.
Right. My God. So this is a show you said you grew up with as well.
Correct.
You were around first run.
It actually started in 77. You had said 76. It started Ides of March, 1977.
Oh, really? I think Google said, man, Google, well, and that's why I said CBS too, because at the end it always says like filmed at CBS Television Studios.
Studios, yeah.
So I was like, oh, and then have we ever had a show that was shot at a different studio like that? I don't think so.
Well, I think the initial, when they were doing the pilot, I think that was being filmed at CBS Studios. And this is going back to what I was saying.
Which pilot? There was 3 pilots, I think.
Yeah, well, because they had a pilot. It was all right. Different cast. The character names were different, and the jobs that they had were different.
I think Ritter was the same in all 3. I don't know if there was 2 shot or 3.
He was not the same in, I believe, the first.
Because I saw a clip where he's with 2 different girls, and he's not a cook, he's an actor.
Yeah. Yeah,
and then they cast Joyce DeWitt and some other girl, and they said literally like the last second, I think the day before, they fired that girl and brought in Suzanne Summers because one of the producers had finally seen her tape or something.
Yeah, her audition
It was like,
tape,
why was she passed on?
Exactly. They said, why did, and no one could answer, like, I don't know.
He said she was the one tape she hadn't seen, or he hadn't seen, and he was like, what the fuck, man? Get this girl in here. And then she started the next day.
And, I'm just trying to find the name of that actress that initially played Susan Lanier. That was the one.
Yeah. I don't think she actually got to film the pilot. I think she was the one that was just fired literally right before the day.
Like a couple of days before pilot taped, they fired her.
But there was a pilot. Is it on the DVD? There was another pilot.
Oh, that'd be cool to see.
No,
unfortunately, again,
it would be on the first
Pluto,
season.
they didn't have that.
Because I did watch a YouTube doc, and they had clips from it where you can see him. Oh, yeah. Never before seen pilot episode number 1, made before Joyce DeWitt and Suzanne Summers were cast. It's actually on the season 2 DVD.
Wow.
Because then they found Joyce, and she did stick for that other show. Mm-hmm. And TV history was made.
Yes, and here's a funny thing also about the, again, bringing it from a British television show to an American television show. Don Nickel,
not enough boobies.
Yeah, that too. But Don Nickel, Michael Ross, and Bernie West, they were the writers that actually helped adapt All in the Family from Till Death Do Us Part.
That was the original title for the All in the Family British one?
Yes. So they already had some experience in taking a British sitcom and molding it for the U.S. audience. But even to the last moment, they were also even reconsidering... I'm just going to say Jack Tripper. Well,
reconsidering Sandy, Jerry Stiller's script from King of Queens?
No, but John Ritter, they were actually to the last moment. Also, they were thinking of, well, maybe we should recast him as well.
Did you see their reasoning?
Because with the not clumsiness, with the pratfalls, they thought it was a little too effeminate.
Which ironic, considering the whole joke of the show is he's supposed to be thought to be gay by the landlords.
Correct. Yeah, because the landlord doesn't want any hanky-panky going on with unmarried guys and girls in the same apartment. So, yeah, the ruse is, he's gay. That's
the entire premise of the show. If you've never seen Three's Company,
yes,
two gals, they lose their third female roommate.
Eleanor.
They need a new roommate. They end up moving in Jack Tripper, played by the great John Ritter, and... like he says, because the landlord doesn't want any hanky-panky, he has to pretend to be gay. This does go for the entire 8-year run.
Yes. And although I do love the last episode with Mr. Furley.
I really was hoping that Mr. Roper would get to find out, though. But
yes, yeah, but of course, again, the ruse was, Jack was gay, but Mrs. Roper, she figured out quickly that you're not gay, right?
I think in that first episode, I knew it. Yeah, she sees him hitting on a chick or something. So yeah, I mean, you have Joyce DeWitt as Janet as well. She's kind of the stable one. She's also involved in the goofy stuff, but does gets to do some pratfalls as well.
Oh, definitely. Especially with her and John Ritter when they were together on screen, they would do some great pratfalls.
I feel like she's easy to underappreciate on this show because
I think
she's very good, but I feel like it's easy to overlook her talents because she is kind of supposed to be a little more grounded and a little more middle compared to everyone else.
And I don't know if you got this, but I always wondered, it's why did Jack and Janet not become the couple? Because I thought their chemistry throughout the series was terrific.
Well, then why would they do a spinoff then? If they had
right. I know.
Well, and it is funny when you have it's called Three's Company. So when they do lose Chrissy, you feel like they're just trying to shoehorn in another blonde to make the name work.
Yes, and and why was it that Chrissy did not come back? Was not acting in the same scenes with her castmates. Yeah, she would be on the phone, but that's it.
I think that was only once or twice,
yes.
maybe. Yeah. So Suzanne Summers in the first 4 seasons, I guess she had gotten married, I think, to a new guy and fired her manager, and her husband became her manager. And they kind of got a little seed up their butt that they deserved a little more money, which maybe they did. I think John Ritter was making more money than the girls.
Yes, he was.
I think he had done a few more things too, though. I don't think they were as established maybe as he was at this point, perhaps.
Correct.
Joyce DeWitt, Janet, had a favored nations contract, which, if you're not familiar, basically I'm going to make the same amount of money as so-and-so. So hers may have been only with Suzanne Summers, I guess, maybe only as the women back then favored nations. Maybe. I'm not sure how that works, because now favored nations is everybody would make the same.
Got it.
But back then, maybe it was just the females. I'm not sure. So I guess there was some issue with money, and the producers were not willing to
budge,
meet her demands. I think she wanted to go from, I wrote it down here. What did he say? She was making $35,000 an episode.
Correct.
They offered her another $5,000 an episode to make it $40,000 an episode, and her husband demanded $150,000 an episode.
Correct.
Which is quite a jump. I mean,
yes.
Granted, it was a huge hit, at least in ratings. Now, I don't think it was a critical hit, but it was a ratings hit.
Definitely ratings hit, and it also actually won some awards.
So the producer, though, he goes, wait. So we have favored nations with her, which means if we give you $150,000, we automatically have to give her $150,000. And because John Ritter is the biggest star on the show, we have to give him even more than that.
Right.
So they said, fuck you. And she left the show. And like you said, I think she only may have done one in that 5th season. And they made her like, you're on the phone with Janet.
Right.
You're not going to be in the actual episode.
Correct.
So she ended up suing the show and lost. And they said they only had to pay her the $35,000 for that one episode, and then told her to kick rocks. And I guess at some point she did want to come back. She said, this is silly. I want to work on the show. And they said no.
Yeah, they definitely, and unfortunately they, if you want to say, they left a not a sour taste, but they kind of made things bad with the rest of the cast members. So for about 30 years or so,
yeah, Suzanne
Summers had not talked to Joyce DeWitt nor John Ritter.
A while back, I did watch the interview. I think did Suzanne have a talk show or something at one point, and she brought her on? I saw an interview where they were sitting. They were sitting together, and she was acting like it was her show.
It was a web talk thing.
And they said it was the first time they had talked since she left the show.
Yeah,
this is long after John had died, but
Joyce didn't know, what had gone on, and neither did John Ritter. Thankfully, they reconciled a few days before he passed, which is kind of eerie.
And if you want to learn more about his passing, we do have an episode on his final sitcom, 8 Simple Rules.
Yes. And in fact,
not one of our favorites, but I'm very happy we're discussing this show so we can talk about him in a better light.
Oh, definitely. And did you know that when they reconciled, there was talk to bring Suzanne onto 8 Simple Rules for at least an episode?
Oh. That is one thing I love about shows like this, when you have all these characters, and we'll get to the Ropers, who I love. Mm-hmm. These characters who left the show but were so important to the characters but are no longer on the show. So when you have an event like the finale where you have like Janet's wedding, none of these people who were so important to her over the years are at her wedding. The Ropers aren't there. Nope. Cindy's not there. Chrissy's not there. It's like her own parents, they make a one line like, "Oh, my parents can't make it. We'll go see them next weekend or whatever."
Yeah, it's like what?
And you have to imagine, I'm sure Janet's parents were on the show at some point as guest characters, and they were probably not available. So they're like, "We'll just say you're not able to make it to you're not going to make it to your daughter's wedding."
Well, I know definitely her dad was on the show because there's a great episode where there's a young woman like seeing her her father comes to visit, and he's like seeing this young woman, and it's like she thinks that her parents are breaking up, and this woman is now hitting on her father, and it's like and she grabs her business card. See, it says I forget what the character's name. It's like something, the rapist. It's like
therapist.
That's therapist.
I love the continuity too with the family too, because like at one point Jack says he's an only child or something, and then later on he's got a brother show up.
Yes.
You're like, they don't give a fuck.
Yeah, because his uncle that shows up on the show said, "Oh, you were always my favorite nephew." It's like, well, I was your only nephew. It's like, well, that didn't It didn't mean I didn't think of you as my favorite. It's like, but then
maybe that brother has a different dad or something. I guess
that's possible.
Did you? We should have brought him up on the our last Halloween episode where we talked about actors in horror movies. Did you see who Chrissy's dad was?
I'm trying to remember now.
I don't know his name, but I was looking at him and I go, I fucking know this guy. Why do I know this guy? I looked him up. He's the asshole uncle from Friday the 13th Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan.
Oh, God.
Remember the uppity fucking asshole uncle? I think he's the uncle of the main character who pushes her in the water. Yeah,
with the the boat.
Yeah, and then he gets drowned in the fucking ooze or whatever the fuck at the end. I kept looking at him going, why do I know this douche? And he's, there you go, Friday the 13th, right back here. He, and I think he was also, I guess maybe first known for a soap opera or something. He does have that uppity soap opera look, so I just thought that was kind of funny.
But here's a couple of things. What is Chrissy's full name?
Yeah, Christmas Snow. Chrissy Snow, Christmas Snow.
Christmas Snow. Did you watch the episode where she was in the hospital? It's she had to convince them. It's like, oh yeah, her name. Oh no, really? It's like that was a great episode, and let's also go over, like you were saying, the premise. Okay, the premise is two girls and the guy, Jack, living together in the apartment, pretending Jack is gay, and
to appease who?
To appease Mr. Roper, and then later on to appease Mr. Furley, but really Mr. Furley's brother. Do you remember?
Are you asking me his brother's name? I don't fucking remember his brother's name. No.
Yeah, he brought it up multiple times, but his brother Bart.
Oh yeah.
But
so I mean, that is the eternal debate. The Ropers versus Mr. Furley. Where do you lie, my friend?
It's very hard because
they fucked these characters over so bad, and I feel so bad for the Norman Fell, and was it Audra? What's her last name?
Lindley.
So good, and we did see her on Friends when we watched. She played Phoebe's aunt.
Yes. But
Norman Fell came up on something we watched, didn't he? What was it? I don't remember.
I forget which show, but yes.
Was he on Police Squad or something?
I don't know if it was Police Squad, but yeah, he was definitely. I think he made an appearance in one of the shows that we happened to be watching.
The Ropers is the prime example of why a spinoff is always not the best idea.
Correct.
Norman Fell
have
said,
you watched The Ropers before?
I have not, but it was on. Was it on Tubi, I think, or something? I was trying to get us to do it last season or something, I think
so.
So maybe we'll get to it if it's still on there. Yeah. I think Three's a Crowd was on there too. So they offered the Ropers a spinoff, and Norman Fell goes, "No, I don't want to. What if it fails? I don't want to lose my spot on Three's Company."
Yeah.
They said, "If the show doesn't succeed, we'll let you come back." And he's like, "Oh, okay." And what happened?
Well, the crazy thing is, you know how long they were talking to him to convince him to, go with the spinoff idea. 6 months. They were going back and forth with him. It's like, no, it's like, okay, yeah, we'll let you come back.
And if this isn't the shadiest shit I've ever heard, they said, if the show's not successful, say it only lasts a year, you come back. They purposefully, even though the show was not doing well, gave them a second season of the Ropers so it could look like it was a success and recast or, keep on Furley.
Correct.
On Three's Company.
Yes, because the chemistry with Furley was also very good.
And one of the producers even said, well, you know what? We really love the Ropers, but you know what's cheaper than 2 paychecks? One paycheck.
Yeah.
They got so fucked. And I think they only had, one guest appearance after that?
Yes,
I think
one guest appearance in season 5. And the crazy thing is, Chrissy was not there at that point by the time they visited.
God damn. And, okay, so back to my question. Who is your choice? The Ropers or Mr. Furley?
It's really hard.
It's just like which Becky on Roseanne. It's the age-old question.
Well, you see, which Becky on Roseanne, I would always go with the original Becky, but
I wouldn't. I liked Sarah Chalk much more,
but the like which landlord? It's like, do you want the chemistry of the Ropers, Mr. and Mrs. Roper, and with Mr. Roper breaking the fourth wall all the time, like when he makes a comment like about his wife and then looks at the camera.
Oh yeah. He started, I think he was probably trying to channel a little Archie Bunker.
Yeah.
When Archie would just kind of look.
He was definitely mugging.
But he'd always had the little Tinkerbell. There was if you're sensitive about gay jokes, this is not the show for you because Jesus Christ.
Again, the whole premise, that Jack is gay, but he really isn't. But they have to put up the ruse.
If you're in on the joke, you're in on the joke. But if you are sensitive, do not watch this fucking show. You will be unhappy.
Yeah, but you know what? I'll say at the time it was done, I don't think it was done under mean spirits. And the times that they were, when Jack had to pretend.
I don't know. Do you remember what Furley said in the final episode when he told him he was straight?
No. Well, again, that
he said, what'd he say? You're cured.
Yeah. Except that part.
Uh-huh.
But the best part is when Jack, ups the courage at that point to tell him. It's like, oh yeah, he starts doing the Furley,
Oh, he does a great Furley. He does it in that introduction episode with Terry too.
Yes,
the snort and the pull the pants up, the belt up. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because they were playing that game of guess who I am. It's like, I don't get it.
Well, I personally prefer the Ropers, and because they can have their own stories too.
Yes.
There's a thing with the Ropers were around. You had a lot of scenes where you'd cut to their apartment and you'd have their own story.
True.
This show, for one, let's just get it out of the way, is one of the most repetitive shows.
Oh yeah, and
I have ever seen.
And this is why I wanted to say, besides the repetitiveness of Jack has got to put on the ruse, it's also miscommunication. This is the miscommunication show because somebody said something, somebody misheard or misunderstood. And now they think, Jack got his girlfriend pregnant. Nope, that's not it.
Speaking of Matthew Perry earlier, I always mention one of my favorite jokes on all of Friends was they're sitting around and they're watching Three's Company, and Matthew Perry's Chandler, he goes, I think I've seen this episode of Three's Company. It's the one with the misunderstanding.
Yeah.
And Phoebe says, what'd she say? Oh, then I've seen this one too. And she turns the TV off.
But I will say, for a show that is, it's it's formulatic, and it's like, oh, okay, it's like, okay, let's use the same things. Like, oh, okay, Jack has got to pretend, like somebody may have seen him, like maybe Roper saw him, and now he's got to, make a story to explain. But there's also some other a misunderstanding going on. Yeah, that's every episode.
This is one of the hardest shows for me to binge watch because of the repetition.
Oh, really?
Like, if you watch like 2 episodes, fine. But if I try to watch like a third and it's the same shit, and it's one of those where you just want to choke the fucking characters because you're like, just say what you fucking mean.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have to have the misunderstanding, they always word shit in the dumbest way. They never say what they mean.
Oh, yeah.
Or they'll there's always some interruption, and it's like, shut the fuck up and just say what you fucking mean. It's like,
no, I totally agree. As far as just out with it. But
with the Ropers,
there's always some
I think,
reason that they're not saying directly.
With the Ropers compared to Mr. Furley, because Mr. Furley is a single character, his only stories involve the other main cast. So he's always roped into their stories. Whereas when you had the Norman and Audra around, you would cut to them and they might have their own story. And you had this great older married couple relationship dynamic. Mm. I personally believe they are the prototypes for Al and Peg Bundy.
I can see that. I can definitely see that.
If you look at Al and Peg on Married with Children and the Ropers, I think that is so clear.
Yeah.
The vibe, even down to her fashion.
True. I definitely could say, like, not the exact same fashion, but a fashion sense where it's very, very loud, very...
That would have been Katie who did that. Katie Seagal, who played Peg. Yep. Because I believe she said that Peg Bundy was written as very frumpy housewife. Mm-hmm. And she went in with the done-up hair and the heels and the hands up and the earrings. So maybe she was inspired by...
That's possible.
But I think very clearly that the relationship is very similar.
Mm-hmm.
Right down to the not wanting for the nookie.
Correct.
Peg, I can't have sex. You're my wife, for God's sakes. That is clearly something that would come out of Mr. Roper's mouth.
But I will say, even though that Three's Company had that, same formula going, they still made it work because of the actresses on that show.
Well, the physical comedy of not only John Ritter, but mostly John Ritter is unparalleled.
Yes, correct.
And, back then, if I was watching an episode a week, I wouldn't feel that. Mm-hmm. It's when I sit down and I want to watch 10 episodes in a row that I start to feel the drain. You know what I mean? Because I do lose a little enthusiasm. Like I said, I could only watch maybe an hour at a time of this, and I was starting to feel it. And it's not that it's not good. It's just that, he fell over the couch 16 times in 4 episodes. It's one of those.
But the way he does it is still, it's so great. Like,
well, and I sent you that scene today, which is one of the few scenes I did not remember.
Oh my God. Such a great.
I think the implication, and they probably just couldn't do it because it was 70s TV or maybe 80s TV, was that he was supposed to be on like cocaine, but they made it a drink instead.
Yeah.
Is that the vibe you got?
The rocket.
Yeah. There's a party drink this guy gives him because he says he's feeling groggy, and it sets him off into this fucking like... I would consider it like a cocaine-fueled fucking party mode.
Because the guy said, oh, no, there's no alcohol in it.
Right.
But, yeah,
he's drinking the
down
first,
and...
the first ever example of scissorp. And this scene is, 5 minutes long almost? About
4.5.
Him just going fucking balls to the wall. Crazy fucking physical comedy.
Oh my God! What and doing some very classical, like Hollywood, not
doing
kind
of showgirly,
the showgirl or showman, coming down the stairs with the top hat, doing the
jumping over furniture and dancing with different random women and
right.
It was really good. But that first reaction when he drinks it,
oh god,
he starts to yawn and he's like,
his facial expression. It's like first and then the eyes go like cross-eyed,
and you just see his head start shaking. Yeah. Oh yeah. He can do the one eye move to the middle. Yeah. Oh, so good. And from that moment on, you're fucking balls to the wall. It was, and then when he goes under the bar, and he comes up with shaking the fucking martini with a plant on his head, he's just like, oh, yeah, come on.
It doesn't get better than that.
So good.
But
did you ever see the movie Stay Tuned?
I was going to bring that up for you.
Not a great movie, but that one little joke was kind of fun.
Like, it was enjoyable, but the fact of one of the primary protagonists is played by John Ritter, and they're basically like the remote control, like they're like being put into different shows, like a cartoon, like he's
it's
kind of
like Click. I guess the Adam Sandler movie kind of like Click, only instead of controlling real life, he's almost like sucked into the TV or and he's changing the channels at one point, and he ends up in Three's Company.
And it's like
with neither the girls come in, but it's not either of the main. It's not either of the real girls. They just like, where have you been? And you hear the music coming knock on our door, and he's like and change. It's a real quick like 14-second thing, but. I remember watching that movie going, oh, that's fun. Well, even when we did 8 Simple Rules, remember they had this scene with Don Knotts, so he shows up and shit. And it's like, so he's always had probably a pretty big soft spot for the show.
Oh, definitely.
So what did you think of Cindy when they brought Cindy for one season?
Yeah.
The Chrissy part 2.
Yeah, Chrissy part 2. It's like that, you could tell it was a hurried, to me, casting, and like they didn't develop her character.
Let's just find a pretty blonde who can act dumb.
Pretty blonde, can act dumb, and she's an accident waiting to happen. Like everyone around her, is hurt by her accidents. So like I think
I just had an accident.
I think was it an inflatable boat thing, like a little inflatable raft.
Okay.
And it's like, oh, you're like, this was on the stairs. It's like, oh, thank you. And of course she turns and knocks them down the stairs outside. Of course we don't see that, but
yeah, I always felt kind of bad for her because you could tell like she serves a purpose, but you could tell that they were probably like, we can do better. And then the audacity they don't just get rid of her, they bring the next replacement in the episode of her farewell. Just like, okay, we're getting rid of you, we're bringing in Terry, Priscilla Barnes, and get the fuck out.
The crazy thing is the way they wrote it, it's like, oh well, because she's going off to college.
Yeah.
So they did have, I think, a couple of more times that she showed up.
Did she after she left from that party?
Okay. She left. Yeah,
because I was watching that one, and when she walks out, she's like, "Oh, I'll be around," and I was like, "No, sweetie, you won't." Sorry.
But
they bring in, honestly, when they bring in Terry, she's one of my favorite characters on the show. I think that she's just
great
because she's not trying to be Chrissy. She's just being her own. She does get a little more slapsticky as her role goes on.
Yes.
I do prefer her when she's more of a strong female.
Oh, definitely. Yeah,
but they definitely give her a little more slapstick toward the end.
She's definitely the anti-Chrissy in that respect. Like, she's not playing dumb. She's a nurse.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, she's it's like, oh, okay, like, the first thing that we see her in is when Jack has to get a tetanus shot.
Yeah, that's a great episode. It's an hour-long episode, which I didn't realize until I was watching it. But yeah, that's a great episode. Beginning of season 6?
6, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she was season 6 through 8.
Yeah, and being one of my favorite characters on the show, I was kind of saddened to learn that she hated it.
Yeah.
She said that this was the worst 3 years of her life.
Yes, exactly. I was just going to bring that up.
Isn't that weird? Like,
weird.
She doesn't let it affect her performance. She's great on the show,
right?
But she said she never felt comfortable on set for some reason. I don't know.
On set or apparently like backstage. Like, I don't know what exactly, but
just maybe some stories in there that should be told.
Exactly.
Yeah, that sucks. And of course, she's had that great cameo in Mallrats with the third nipple. Gets them every time. Which that scene never made sense to me, because why would she remove the nipple after just one customer if she's going to be there all day doing it?
Exactly. So she's got to reapply it each time.
that scene, I'm like, I don't know. But, growing up with a crush on Terry and then finally getting to see her boobies in a Kevin Smith movie of all things, I was okay with it.
But then, which one? I think it was the second movie with the Firefly family.
She's in that too with the Rob Zombie bullshit.
Yeah. She's killed in like that second movie, and they said it's like, we felt so bad. We're killing Priscilla Barnes. Like,
he has a thing for killing aged actresses, though. Like, he killed Dee Wallace in his Halloween movie, and Leslie Easterbrook from Police Academy movies. God. He's got a thing for, like, I think these older women he had a little thing for as a younger man, and was like, I'm gonna bring him in my movie and kill him.
And then I'll bring my wife on, and she'll be the greatest
actress. And she'll ruin everything.
But remember how we were talking about, like, certain shows are like almost like, it's just like it goes down easy. It's just like you just keep watching, and it's like, oh, okay. Like, I think for you, Full House was a little more that way, right? Because you could just turn it on and
shut your brain off.
Yeah, it doesn't require. This was that for me, where it's like, okay, it's not the most fantastic writing in the world, because all the premise is the same.
This is the perfect background show. Mm-hmm. If you just need something on while you're cleaning the house, this is one of the perfect shows for that.
Yeah.
It's when I say I got a little exhausted after an hour, it's when I'm sitting there laser focused, taking notes, watching, and that's when it wore a little on me. But I mean, I still have a place for it in my heart. I still love this show from my youth. And like Jack's pratfalls alone, just
watching those are incredible and
is amazing. Apparently, he said he only injured himself once on the show,
which is amazing for all the things that he did.
I guess they rehearsed with a different table for one of his falls, and during the actual filming, the table was much smaller, and he fucked up the fall and smacked his temple on it.
Ooh!
And they said he actually got knocked out for a second.
Damn.
But he was telling that story on Conan, and Conan actually asked him. He asked him the age-old question: the Ropers or Mr. Furley? What do you think he said?
That's a good one. I'm going to say he said the Ropers.
He said my favorite landlord was Mrs. Roper, for one. But he said that he was actually very good friends with Norman Fell. They had done something before, like one of his first acting jobs was with Norman Fell, and he said he made it a point to tell Norman, you never fucking spoke to me once on that project. And Norman said, well, you were nobody then. So it sounded like he was very good friends with Norman Fell. Mm-hmm. And he mentioned that it was the producers who really wanted Don Knotts.
Right, which go figure.
Yeah.
One of
the greatest
sitcom
talents. Yeah,
and
if you want to learn more about Don Knotts, go listen to our Andy Griffith episode.
Yes, and with Don Knotts, like I read that he was actually pretty like petrified when like the first episode that like
stepping into that
because also here he comes from the world of single camera sitcom. Now we're doing the 3-camera sitcom, and he was...
Well, you're also stepping into a very successful show.
Correct. Yeah, like
and
in
basically
the middle.
taking the role of two other beloved characters, you know?
Correct. Yeah, so, like, yeah, there was a lot that was making him quite nervous going on, but apparently when he first showed up, the audience gave him a standing ovation for, like, several minutes.
You know, I was waiting for it on the episode where he first walked in, and I don't know, maybe they cut it out of the episode, because on the show, I didn't hear the audience make a peep, and I was waiting for it.
Right.
I'm sure maybe it was in live, they just had to cut it out because it was so long, or so. They've done that. I've seen it in episodes, but...
Yeah. Well,
did you see the thing with President Carter?
I don't remember that one.
This show was so successful, in fact, that they received a telegram from President Carter saying, "Hey, I'm addressing the nation tomorrow. I have an address." It was a Tuesday night, and he goes, "I do not want to be the reason America misses Three's Company." He said, "They will hate me." He said, "Can we move your airing to Wednesday night?"
Just for this?
And they said yes. Because he goes, "America will hate me if they miss Three's Company because of my mouth, like babbling on fucking an address."
That's funny.
Joyce DeWitt told that on their reunion special.
Wow. Oh, let's jump to another thing. Like you brought it up at the beginning. The theme song. What did you think of the theme song?
I think it is perfectly cheesy and campy. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's a great song, but I think it works perfectly for this schlocky, goofy show.
I got you. And I get the cheesiness and aspect of it, but it is also an earworm. Because once you have watched a couple of episodes of Three's Company, "Come and Knock on Our Door," that is stuck with you for a while. As far as a
sitcom theme song, it's perfect.
Oh, yeah.
As far as a song, I don't know. But as a sitcom theme song, it's perfect.
Well, did you see who wrote the theme song?
No.
The composer was Joe Raposo.
That name does sound familiar. Have we talked about him before?
I don't know if we've actually talked about him before, because we haven't done any sitcoms based on Sesame Street. Yes, Sunny Days.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yes, he's known for composing Sesame Street and the Electric Company. So this cheesy, catchy song, it's like, like with xylophone and it's like, oh, I get it. I get it.
Did you see who's got a little cameo in the theme song?
Well, as far as, are you talking about singing or are you talking about on screen?
On screen.
Yes. Yeah, I love it. It's like the early, seasons where Jack is on the bicycle and he sees this hot brunette walking by and he falls on his bicycle. Yeah, that hot brunette was Suzanne Summers in a wig.
I was talking about his son is in the
opening. Yes, in the later ones with the zoo, when Janet is feeding the goat, a little boy walks up and that's Jason. Jason Ritter.
He's got like jean overalls or bibs on.
Yep.
Yeah, that's Jason Ritter.
Now, as far as the who sings it, the female is Julia Rinker. When I first heard the song, I thought it was actually like Suzanne Summers or someone singing, but it wasn't. Julia Rinker. But do you know who the guy singing was?
No.
The great Ray Charles. Oh, wait, not that Ray Charles. This is another one.
This is Raymond Charles.
This is Ray Charles of the Ray Charles Singers. Yeah, not to be confused by the blind, R&B pianist, musician.
He was blind? No, I'm just kidding.
Didn't see that coming.
I think it was shot at the Santa Monica Pier. You can probably still go visit a lot of these places.
That's shot at Santa Monica Pier. The zoo part is shot as the Los Angeles Zoo. And also, I believe the Santa Monica Pier is also where the amusement park winds up also being, that they go. But apparently, that smaller amusement park was replaced by, I guess, a bigger amusement park, like close by it.
Yeah, you can go sit in the exact spot on the sand where he fell over on that bike.
Yeah.
Well, it was funny because on that Conan interview too, he was talking about, this was well after obviously the show was over when Conan was interviewing him, but
yeah,
he said that the show never really got any respect. It was not like it was panned by critics, and a lot of people were like, "Oh, it's stupid." Back then, TV was not looked at the way it is now. TV's almost more praised than movies half the time anymore.
Now, yeah.
But he said that the one person who gave them credibility was actually Lucy.
Wow.
Lucy was very outspoken about her love for the show, especially her love for John and his physical comedy, given her background in it. And that's why in one of this, was it season 7? They do like the special best of, and she hosts it.
Oh, God. I didn't even think about that.
So Lucy hosted this best of special in one of the later seasons, and even loved him so much they became friends in real life, and that's why he appears later on her final sitcom, Life with Lucy.
Wow.
I don't think he was a regular, but he's in an episode. Maybe, I think he's only in one, but he does a lot of physical bits in the hardware store there with her.
But yeah, like the excuse me. Yeah, do you know like which character was in every episode?
If I had to guess, I feel like Jack's too obvious, so I'm going to say Janet.
No, Janet was actually missing for one episode. Yeah, Jack was the one in every episode.
I thought you were tricking me with that. I thought that'd be a trick question.
That's why it's like one of those like, okay, hold on, was Jack away for a thing and then the girls are doing something? But no, Jack was there for every episode.
It's like a similar note. I like to ask people, Roseanne, who was the only actor to appear in every single episode of Roseanne?
Okay, not, yeah. I'll guess Roseanne.
No. Jackie.
Really?
Jackie was the only actor.
Holy crap.
In every episode. I think Roseanne was gone for an episode or two during her pregnancy.
Okay.
Which I always thought was funny on a show called Roseanne.
Yes,
and now that she's not even on it, so
yeah, the Connors without Roseanne Connor.
I never thought we'd see the day. Anyway,
and then you told me that what was the news that broke that you told me about Roseanne?
Yeah. Apparently, Roseanne had a sitcom in development with Fox after all of this, shenanigans with her getting fired from the Roseanne and the Connors. And they just announced that Tim Allen has joined that show with her.
Oh, wow.
So Tim Allen and Roseanne are going to be on a Fox sitcom together.
Do you know what character also that was supposed to be a one-off basically was throughout the whole series?
I would say Larry.
Yep, Larry Dallas.
Larry's great. Larry's one of the great best friend characters.
Yes, played by Richard Klein.
Yeah, I've heard rumblings over the years of a reboot. Obviously not with the same cast because very few of them are left. I mean, all you got left is what? Terry, Cindy, Janet, and Larry? I think those are the only ones still alive.
Yeah, because
that'd be a fucked up show. I guess you could do the 3 girls living together, huh?
Yeah.
You could have Cindy, Terry, and Janet living together. That might be interesting. Have Larry live next door, or have him be the Jack character. Who knows?
Oh. I love one of the things that they were talking about. Do you know there's an infamous scene, from the show where
Is this where you supposedly see his penis or something?
Scrotum.
Okay, I've heard of the lore. I don't remember exactly.
But now here's the thing: a viewer of Nick at Night saw and let them know. So Nick at Night basically edited
Pulled
that. So on further showings, they were showing the edited version, but they spoke to John Ritter about it, and it was great. I've requested that Nickelodeon air both versions, edited and unedited, because sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't. And you do know also that his dad was a famous actor too, Tex Ritter.
No.
Yes, and in fact. Oh,
you're lying. No, I'm just kidding.
yes, I'm lying.
Tex Avery was his dad? Oh.
No. There's a line that Jack says. It's like, well, you have to learn to trot before you can gallop. Who said that? That's a famous line from his dad.
So he was like a Western star?
Yeah. Tex Ritter.
Oh. I mean, with the name like Tex, what else are you going to do? You mean an accountant? No. Ritter did have a few Emmy nominations. He won one in 1984
and
for Outstanding Lead in a Comedy, and he won a Golden Globe same year. Speaking of people who got a lot of Emmy nominations, I saw Larroquette on the show. He popped up in one I watched.
Oh, really?
John Larroquette, he played a police officer. He sees Jack, I think he loses his keys or something, and he's climbing in the window, so he thinks he's a burglar, and he's like, hey, you girls, and he's like, I live here, and he's like, you live here with them, and he's like,
oh my god, yes, I remember that one.
Yeah.
Oh crap. I didn't it didn't even occur to me that was Larroquette.
He's like, I gotta go back out. He's like, why would you ever leave?
Oh my god, did you see the one where they went to the police station?
You're gonna have to narrow it down. I feel like there's 10 where they're at a police station.
Yeah, well, it was the reason was they were cleaning up the garden for the Ropers, the garden in back, basically weeding it and such, and the one flower that Mrs. Roper puts in a plant display, for her gardening club. Somebody says, "Oh yeah, that's marijuana."
I vaguely remember that. Yeah.
So they go to the police station and you're trying to say, what if I have a friend, let's say, and
it's for my glaucoma.
I really did. You enjoy watching this show?
Yeah, I've always enjoyed watching this show. It's not a top 5 favorite for me, but it's one that I absolutely loved as a child. I can still pop in any one of these beautiful DVDs and have a good time.
Damn you! Damn you!
Oh yeah. Actually, 2 of my favorite side characters, and I don't remember if they come over for the spinoff, but his boss there, Angelino, and the cook, that Felipe, are so funny.
Oh, Felipe great. Is fun.
Felipe,
because he's trying to sabotage Jack at every moment.
That dude was hilarious. If he wasn't on the spinoff, they fucked up, because that dude was funny. He was only on 6 or 8 of these, I think.
It's just really the one season, I believe, is Felipe.
Oh, and speaking of the spinoff, have we ever covered a show where literally this show just throws to it? The final...
Oh, yeah, it's just literally, we're in the new show at the end of the show.
The final season, or the final episode, it literally pops up the name Three's Company, and then the words shoot in and shoot out the word company, and now it says Three's a crowd. And it says premiering next week. Mm-hmm. Because I was wondering, there's in that final episode, there's the poignant moment, kind of like in Mary Tyler Moore or Friends, where they all turn the light off and they shut the door.
Right.
And it kind of fades to black. And you're like, why is this episode still going? It should have just ended right there.
Yeah.
And then they give you like Jack and his new woman. They're going to their new apartment and blah, blah, blah. And
again, not wife, because she didn't want to get married. Just wanted to live together. Oh,
these final episodes, man, they fucking sprint for the finish line.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden, Janet's got a boyfriend. Boom, 2 episodes in, they're engaged. The next episode, they're getting married. Jack meets this bitch fucking 2 episodes before the show's over and is like, hey, we're moving in together and getting a spinoff. You're like, what? All these beautiful women Jack has been with over 8 seasons, and this one girl he falls in love with in 1 hour almost.
And it was funny because wasn't she was like a flight attendant, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait, I think he has a thing for flight attendants because, like, I don't know if you watched the episode, but there was a great episode where a girl that, like, I guess had dumped Jack on a couple of occasions, but, like, he melts basically when, you know, whenever she's around. Lonnie Anderson plays his girlfriend that comes back to see him.
Well, we didn't really mention the other random side woman that kind of disappeared either. That Lana, she was there for a little bit.
One season.
You're like, she would come in and she was all drooling all over. Like, women were always drooling all over Jack in this show.
Yeah.
It was always the ones he didn't want. It was always somebody's wife.
You know what the like I've thought was a funny thing we've talked about before, where props and such get reused like from show to show. Janet's couch, or like the couch in the apartment. You know where that was from?
Previously, no.
What do you call it? Sanford and Son.
Oh, interesting. I highly recommend this show. If you know what I'll just preface it. If you know what you're getting into, it's a goofy, nonsensical, slapstick show loaded with gay jokes. If that's something you're into, you're probably going to love this show. And the
thing is, it's not all the time. It's just
it's at least once per
whenever
episode.
Like there's an episode where Jack may have been witnessed kissing a woman. That's when it's like they go back to that joke. But otherwise,
this show probably spread some herpes over the years because they're all making out all the time.
But again, the main theme of this show is misunderstanding.
Just say what you fucking mean. God damn. Oh, man. Anyway, so the list. We haven't got to visit the list in a while.
Yeah, actually, like I almost forgot. It's like, oh, wait, yeah, like where does this fit on the list?
We have, this will be our 40th show on the list.
Where do you put this on your list?
So, Three's Company, among many, many great shows we've covered so far. But because of that, it does fall a little lower, I think, than it may for some. For me, it's going to land at number 24.
Okay.
Out of 40. And that falls for me right between Living Single and another Furley, Don Knotts show, The Andy Griffith Show.
For me, I think where this is falling for me is actually the top of the bottom half. It's number 21.
Okay.
Yeah, right under the Addams Family and above F Troop.
Ooh. Another great pratfall expert there over on F Troop.
Ken Berry.
Dude, I would love to see them battle it out.
Oh, God. Dueling pratfalls.
Did we might have mentioned that on F Troop. I can't remember.
It might have been, yeah. But yeah, you're talking about two of the best that that did it.
Two of the best that ever did it. Yeah.
But
man, well, you should absolutely go watch Three's Company.
Right.
I don't know that it's for everyone, but I think it's probably for most. Mm-hmm. And if you grew up watching it, especially as a kid, I think it's one of those shows that always kind of felt dirty and sneaky. It's got so many fucking erotic jokes. It's got all these naughty little bits.
Yeah, double entendres and all those fun...
So when you were a kid, you kind of felt like, I shouldn't be watching this, but I am. I watch it with Grandpa, you know. It's quite titillating. As well. They did not enjoy bras on this costume department, out there, the wardrobe department, I'll tell you what. They must have had a bra burning every week, because, my God, thank you. I don't know who you are over in wardrobe, but thank you.
Now, for the good people that want to listen to or watch some of our older episodes, what should they do?
They should, subscribe to us on every podcast app available. We're on your iTunes. Stitcher doesn't exist anymore, so I guess you can't go there anymore.
Like, we were there.
We were there. We're on Spotify. We're on all of your favorite podcast apps, and some you might not like either. You can find us on YouTube. Just search Sitcom My Face Podcast or Sitcom My Face, a situation comedy podcast. We're on Facebook.com/Sitcom My Face. You can find us on X at Sitcom My Face.
Formerly known as Twitter.
Yeah, also known as Twitter. You can find him over on Twitter and Twitch at NetNick191. You can find me on both of those as well at BidwellFog. And what do you think? Should we ask these kind folks to sitcom our face?
I think it's time.
Sitcom my face, baby.
Sitcom my face.
Especially in those great 70s shorts.
Come and sit on our face.